If you're a burned out mom who's tired of power struggles and tired of feeling like you're failing, I need you to hear this. Your child's behavior isn't about you being a bad parent. It's about biology, brain development, and unmet needs that you didn't even know existed. In this video, I want to talk about 6 books that transformed how I parent, both as a psychologist and as a mom in the trenches with you. These books aren't just theory. They're practical roadmaps to help you stop reacting, start connecting, and have your kids listen. Really listen to what you have to say. Stick around because I'm breaking down exactly what each book teaches, why it works, and which one you need right now. All the links are in the description below. Let's dive in. So book number 1 is A Whole Brain Child by Daniel J. Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson. The key idea behind this book is that you can't help a child behave better until you know that their brain is sometimes not working the way it should. When kids are upset, their brains kind of shut down. This means that the thinking part of their brain, with all of the logic, reasoning, problem solving, regulation, has gone completely offline, and they're fully in their lower brain acting out in fight or flight, which means that it's hard for them to listen and learn well in that moment. And the key thing that I've learned from this book is that you have to help them get out of their lower brain back into their upper brain before they're able to take in anything that you want to say to them and any form of learning. If they're in their lower brain, you put so much energy into discipline, into reasoning, into helping them understand what's going on with their behavior and to behave better. And it's falling on deaf ears because the part of their brain that takes all of that information in has gone offline and is not there to absorb it and process anything that you're trying to say. Picture this. Your child's brother breaks a Lego tower that they've been working so hard on. They don't just cry, they scream and hit and throw things because they're so upset that this tower is broken, and they spiral into a full-blown meltdown. When you try to help calm them down, you might reason with them, have a conversation, maybe lecture them about how their behavior was not so appropriate, and they either look right through you, like you're speaking a foreign language, or their behavior explodes and gets so much worse. Why is this? This happens because they're deep in their lower brain, in their fight or flight. And anything that you do ends up adding fuel to the fire and just makes it so much worse. And zero learning is happening in this moment. Their logical upstairs brain that regulates all of this behavior has gone completely offline. So that's where this book steps in. This book gives you incredible parenting power because it stops the guesswork and the frustration about what's actually happening and then how to respond to it so you don't make it worse, but you can actually tap into the process and help them learn and respond faster. One of my favorite strategies in this book is connecting before you direct. So for example, in this Lego moment, connecting with your child's emotions around the destroyed tower, helping them understand what they're feeling and why they're feeling that before you teach. The key concept is helping them feel felt and organizing their feelings, and then the intensity comes down really, really fast, and they're ready to absorb what you're trying to tell them. If you're a frustrated, exhausted parent who needs to and wants to stop taking their child's reactions personally or help them not become worse, this is the instruction manual for brain integration to help the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain work together so meltdowns aren't so big and intense. There's so many amazing practical, easy strategies. It's the foundation. Start with this book. The second book in the stack, and probably one of my favorites, is No Drama Discipline by Daniel J. Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson. It is my absolute all-time favorite book for teaching different discipline strategies. The premise of this book is that discipline is not punishment. It's a loving opportunity to teach essential life skills. It teaches you how to set limits so you can address challenging behaviors in the moment, while also at the same time teaching your child lessons that will help them later in life and makes discipline way easier over time. Let me give you an example. A really common challenging moment I find with my clients is around dinner time and getting their children to eat all their dinner. And say your child is refusing to eat their vegetables and is actually lying about this. The traditional approach, the more common thing to do, is give an immediate consequence, a time out, some kind of privilege removed, or even a lecture about honesty or reasoning with your child or bribing your child. I currently have a client that's struggling with this right now. Her child refuses to eat almost everything, and every meal is a battle. And her and the dad are getting so exhausted and so frustrated with this. And they've tried everything. They've done the timeouts, they've done the bribing, they've even let them go hungry. And yet, still, their child refuses to eat. Nothing has worked for them. So here's the thing with this book, this approach asks, why is this happening? Why are they lying? Why are they refusing to eat their food? Why is it such a battle? The key shift is understanding that the power struggle actually stops when you connect with your child and you understand what's going on, then you can apply the discipline. So in my client's case, when they started asking questions and trying to figure out what was happening, it was actually a sensory issue. And so their child, who was refusing to eat, actually couldn't stand the textures of all the foods that they were cooking for dinner in his mouth. And so a referral to an occupational therapist to help with these sensory issues was what needed to happen. No timeouts or bribing or loss of privileges was ever going to help this child with their sensory struggles. They needed professional help to figure this out. So chasing the why is super important in understanding what to do for discipline. This book is so freeing because it changes discipline from something you do to your child to something you do for your child. So if you need practical parenting strategies that teach your child essential life skills and make parenting easier over time because you're actually facilitating healthy brain development, this is the book for you. I truly believe every parent needs to read this book. And it really pairs perfectly with the whole brain child. So if you watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I have a passion for neuroscience, attachment, and playful parenting. So the third book on my list, which I feel is the fastest way to healthy brain development and a deep, healthy connection with your child, and is absolutely creative in the parenting strategies they use, is Playful Parenting. This one is by Lawrence Cohen. Play is the language of connection. And play is the way kids understand the world, they make sense of things, and they learn so much through play. And the wonderful thing about play is that when your child is struggling with something, if you can play it out with them, you're moving them into a very different space of their brain, away from that fight or flight response, away from the power struggles, into a position where you're triggering all the positive attachment instincts, the desire to listen to you, and the ability to learn in a way that just talking to them could never do. So, a really fun example, and one of many, many, many fun and funny examples that they have in the book, is when you've asked your child 50 times to put on their shoes and they still haven't listened to you. Instead of the normal strategy of escalating it into a power struggle, you can use a more playful approach by making it into a competition where you're trying to put on your shoes faster than they're putting on their shoes, but you somehow always fail and they always beat you. This makes them giggle. This makes them laugh, and it makes them try so hard to do what you originally asked them to do. It's so connective and such a fast way to get them to follow through. The cool thing about this concept is that you get them to do what you ask them to do while also still giving them that experience of power and control because they win. You can transform anything into a silly competition or a silly game, and it gets the job done. Everybody's laughing, no consequence needed. Play unlocks a powerful connection. It helps children feel seen, feel heard, and feel valuable to you. And in that, you trigger their attachment instincts in the base of their brain, which gives them the desire to listen and follow through on what you're asking. It moves kids into the receptive part of their brain where resistance completely disappears and learning happens in a happy, joyful, fun, and silly connective way. This builds an unbreakable trust, an unbreakable relationship that's nurtured and is the foundation for everything that you do in parenting. And I love play first before I try any other play strategy, because if I can nurture healthy brain development and nurture a deep, healthy, joyful attachment relationship with my kids, I know that my relationship with them will get better and better, and parenting will get easier and easier. Play is your key to everything in parenting. So if you feel like the joy in parenting has been zapped out, if you feel like things have been too serious or there's too many power struggles, this is the book for you. This is where I would start. Find ways of adding some silly into the relationship, because if you can nurture that attachment, if you and your child can find some joy together, parenting is going to get so much easier for you. And even if you think you're not playful, this book makes it easy. There's so many examples of ways that you can add play into your day and get your child to follow through in your direction. So the fourth book on my list, if you have a child that struggles with anxiety, this is the absolute best book I have ever read, hands down, on anxiety. And this one's also by the same author, Lawrence Cohen. This one's called The Opposite of Worry. He uses a playful approach in this book as well. But the thing with this book is there's so much simple but incredible information on the source of anxiety, on why it's there, on how to create coping strategies, on how to create long-term resilience strategies so your children who are suffering from anxiety can actually overcome it. He also normalizes in the book that some anxiety is actually good because it drives us to do things, or it saves us from unsafe situations. If anxiety is taking over your home, this book is life-changing. The Opposite of Worry isn't fearlessness, it's security and confidence. And this book, step by step, every chapter has incredible information on how to build that security in your child so they can conquer anxiety, even if it's just a small amount of anxiety or if it's terrifying fear that limits your child from doing things in their world. This book will help. One of the examples in this book is if your child is terrified of going to the doctor or even going to the dentist, oftentimes as parents, our first response is to say, it's okay. There's nothing to be worried about. The doctor or the dentist is safe. You're going to be fine. And all that is true, but we're speaking to the wrong part of the brain. We're speaking to that upper brain where they can understand what you're saying. But as soon as fear happens, as soon as anxiety happens, that thinking brain has gone offline and they're way back into their fight or flight response, which I talked about at the beginning of the video. And so we have to take a different approach. It's not going to work. In this book, he talks about a playful approach where you can reverse roles. So your child is the doctor and you're the terrified patient so they can be in control of what happens in that doctor visit. Or you can do it with stuffed animals. The stuffed animals can be the patients where they take care of the stuffed animals in such a way alleviates their fear. So if you're walking on eggshells with your child, which we often do with anxiety because we are so fearful of triggering any kind of anxious behavior, this book is for you. It gives you real, clear, simple steps to help your child overcome that anxiety. Again, the absolute best book I've ever read on anxiety and strategies to overcome it. Another book on my list that I recommend to so many clients is The Highly Sensitive Child. This book talks about a really unknown or misunderstood personality where a child has extremely sensitive emotions, and emotions are often intense on either side of the spectrum. They're either really intense angry or really intense happy, but then they have an emotional meltdown even though they're happy, and it really confuses parents. Or sometimes their child has symptoms that look like ADHD, and so they think their child might have ADHD, or they have sensory issues and they're wondering if their child has autism. There's so many aspects to this particular personality, the sensitive child, the sensitive personality, that look like other things. But what it actually is a dialed up nervous system that takes in so much extra information in the environment. And without proper regulation skills, the child doesn't know what to do with that information and they get gummed up. And then we get anxious behaviors. And then we get a lack of focus. We get a tremendous amount of meltdowns or incredible mood swings. Your child's sensitivity isn't a flaw, it is a personality that needs to be nurtured and taught regulation skills. Another way of spotting this personality, and this is the other thing that I love about this book, is when you discipline a child with sensitive personality, you'll often hear such things as, "You hate me. I'm the worst person in the world. I shouldn't be around. Nobody likes me. I can't do anything right." And what's happening is that a sensitive child does not want to do anything wrong. And so when they make a mistake, they self punish. And so they already feel horrible about it. And then when we as parents add extra discipline on top of that, they now personalize that into who they are and their self esteem plummets. So these kids will struggle with anxiety, lower self esteem, sometimes depression, and a tremendous amount of shame if we can't catch the sensitive personality and teach them regulation skills so that they can function in a world that's just coming at them too fast. And what I often find is when I refer parents to read this book, they read the book and they're like, "Oh my goodness, they're describing me." And the reason for that is because sensitive personalities run in families. And so if your child has a sensitive personality, odds are one of the parents have it too. This book helps you understand your child's personality and gives you some incredible practical skills in parenting your child. The thing with a sensitive personality is because the world comes at them so extreme, so many details all at once, they actually need slightly different parenting skills and parenting strategies than other personalities. And it describes it so well in this book in such a way that you can save your child from struggling with anxiety and you can boost their self esteem and give them such incredible regulation skills if you know what's going on and what to do. You'll see their creativity, their empathy, their deep thoughtfulness. Now, I have some parents say, "Everything about a sensitive child sounds correct about my child, but I don't see the empathy." Here's the thing. If a sensitive child is struggling with so much information and they're so defended against the world that their defense mechanisms have come up, what you see likely is aggression and protection of themselves. And they need so much help to sort through all of the information and the emotions before they can get to the space of feeling that empathy. Sensitive personalities are incredibly empathetic, but the world is heavy and it's hard to deal with all of that. So you will see defense mechanisms. Understanding their sensitivity brings profound relief and validation. It stops the worry that you're doing something wrong, and it shows you that your child's sensitive personality actually needs a unique, tailored approach to parenting. I have one client right now whose daughter is incredibly sensitive. The mom is incredibly sensitive, and she feels so much guilt and shame that she's created this child to have such anger and aggression and frustration because she only shows these behaviors at home. She only melts down at home. But once she was able to see that her daughter actually has a sensitive personality, there was a sense of relief that it wasn't her. She just needed different strategies to help her child navigate this personality. If you've ever felt like you have to fix your child, or that your child has incredibly intense emotions, or that you can't discipline your child because they swing to dark thoughts that they shouldn't be around, this book is for you. It likely is that you have a sensitive personality and they need a tailored approach to parenting. It's a game changer because it helps you understand how special their personality truly is and helps you enhance that and not work against it. The last book on my list fits in nicely with the other five, but it's a little bit different. It doesn't talk about parenting strategies and it doesn't talk about brain development. But what it does do is give you some very creative ways of connecting with your child in just 15 minutes a day. So that's what this book is, 15 minutes outside. So the author's idea is talking about how we should be spending time outside. We should be grounding. We should be getting the sun and exploring nature and getting away from screens, but combined with the idea that we need to be spending 15 minutes at least with our kids to fill up their love buckets. This book offers easy, simple, playful strategies for every single day of the year. So when they look back on their childhood, it's these memories that they remember. Research shows that time outside improves concentration, lessens aggression, and facilitates joyful, connected play. Connection doesn't have to be complicated. Giving your kids just 5 minutes or 15 minutes to connect with you and find some kind of joy allows them to go off and do their own thing so that you can get your things done, like cooking dinner or doing the laundry. And the long-term reward, you're cultivating lifelong habits of stress management and focused restoration by simply making non-negotiable family playtime. So this book is for the mom who knows that she needs to play with her kids, but at the end of the day is so exhausted, she has no time to be creative and come up with any ways of playing. So here's what all these 6 books share: connection, understand, and neuroscience backed strategies that help with parenting that actually work in real life. They're not theory, they work. Each one of these books are intended for very, very different situations. You have your sensitive child, you have your anxious child, you have your play. But if I were to pick just 2 that are incredible foundations to parenting, the 2 that I would choose are The Whole Brain Child and No Drama Discipline. I feel that these are essential books that every parent should read because they teach you in very simple ways what's happening in the brain, how to connect with your child, how to respond to your child's behaviors both now, and teach them lifelong skills so that parenting becomes easier over time. All the links are in the description below. Which book are you going to start with? Let me know in the comments below. I love all of these books, and I would love to have conversations with you about your favorites and which ones are working right now. And if this was helpful, hit the subscribe button and share this with another mom who might need it. These books are incredible. I'll see you in the next video.